All right, guys, it is UFC 319 fight week, and I got a video today talking about fights that I'm going to be fence sitting. Fights that have been announced in the UFC, or fights that I believe will be made or down the line will be made, that I don't know who I'm going to pick yet. I'm going to be flipping back and forth between fighters. I'm going to be fence sitting this whole thing. Pardon that gallon of water there, trying to make sure I pound a lot of water. Been a little under the weather. Um, Dude, the there are a lot of fights that are coming up, and especially with this weekend, we'll talk about that. I'm so 50-50 on. Like, I feel like at one point in time, I'm dead set on one guy. At another point in time, I'm like, ooh, I think the other guy's actually going to get it done. Now I'm dead set on that guy. Oh, you know what? Actually, I'm going to go back to the first guy. I'm fence sitting. I'm sitting. That's what this video is all about. This is partially inspired by Bedtime MMA, because he's the king of fence sitting, bro. But I'm fence sitting right now. Let's just get rid of that, eh? I haven't used that whiteboard in some time, guys. But these are the fights that I don't know what I'm gonna fucking pick. I'll keep it real. And the reason this video was inspired is dude, it's Tuesday and I don't know what I'm gonna do with this. I have no idea what I'm gonna do with this. Hamzat DDP is the most back and forth fight in terms of predictions that I have actually come across in a long time. I was so dead set confident after February, honestly after August, but after February I was for sure like, dude, there's no way DDP loses to this guy. He's too good. He's gonna get a win. He's gonna be an underdog, and I'm gonna make a fuck ton of money off it. Boom. Here we are, and for some reason I'm starting to like lean towards Hamzat again. I'm seesawing this fight like fucking crazy because, and I'm gonna do a whole breakdown on the predictions video that's gonna come out tomorrow probably. But dude, I don't know, man. Like, Hamzat could easily win this fight in the first round, and we'd be like, wow, we're so dumb for picking Dricus. And then Dricus could win, and we'll be like, wow, he did it again. We still haven't learned our lesson. We're stupid. What are we doing? I don't know. I don't know. I keep fence sitting this fight because they're both really talented. They both have multiple paths to victory. They both are like relatively young for UFC primes, right? And they're both constantly improving. They show us new stuff when they go out there. So you're like, am I going to pick the round one dominant finisher to go out there and all of a sudden win a decision? Because I think he could. It's his second time preparing for a 5-rounder now. I think he could. He's more comfortable at 85. I know he had a tough fight with Usman, but, Usman was a very difficult matchup, also on short notice, totally different than someone that he had prepared for. You know what I mean? And then he smokes Whitaker, but DDP also ended up beating Whitaker by finish. And then he beat Adesanya, and then he smoked Strickland the second time also. And it's like, I don't know who to pick. So this is the definition of a fight that I'm fence sitting, bro. And on the same card, I'm kind of fence sitting this one. Now, this one's a lot less. Aaron Pico, Lerone Murphy is a lot less. There are different factors behind this. I actually think Lerone Murphy is a more well-rounded, skilled fighter. But Aaron Pico has the power. He has the knockout ability. He has Bellator plot armor, which I know hasn't been much recently. But he has the Bellator plot armor. And dude, the UFC wants him to win. He was preparing for a fight against Movsar Evloev, ends up getting Lerone Murphy. It's a totally different stylistic matchup, I get it. But I think it's like you're fighting lower level of competition. Maybe not as good of a stylistic matchup here for Aaron Pico, but it's not as good of a stylistic matchup for Lerone Murphy as well. So I look at this fight and I just go, you go back and forth. Like, Lerone Murphy's the proven UFC prospect. Here we go, another Bellator guy. Do we fucking pick another Bellator guy? Like, flip like I picked Mario Batista, but I ended up betting on Patchy Mix. That was stupid. Same thing with like Pitbull. I was flirting with the Pitbull over Yair thing. Didn't end up working out, but I just don't know if I can trust Bellator fighters. I think Pico's very good, but he's not as proven as a lot of people are saying he is. He has a great highlight reel, but it's against, lower level comp. So I'm looking at that and I see Lerone Murphy, who has no highlight reel, against pretty decent comp. But again, it's not the best UFC comp. It's the Dan Igues and the Josh Emmets and, similar fighters to who Aaron Pico is, right? He's fought 2 times back-to-back guys that are very similar styles as Aaron Pico. Good wrestling offensively, power in the hands, nothing too crazy with the striking, but has power and decent boxing. Like, Emmett doesn't really have decent boxing. He has power, a big overhand. But it's a similar style matchup. I'm going back and forth on this, though. Because I also think that if this is a close, like very close decision, like Lerone Murphy likes to make his fights, very close decisions, I think they would rob Lerone Murphy and give it Aaron Pico. So, yeah, I don't know. Fence sit in this one as well. Another one that we're going to be fence sitting because that's what we do here now. When this fight inevitably gets made, I have no idea who I'm picking, bro. No idea who I'm picking. Usman, I would have picked Bilal 100% until Usman went out there and ragdolled Joaquin Buckley. And then in the 5th round, like, Buckley became a beast again and remembered how to stuff takedowns for some reason. But Usman was able to get takedowns very easily, very efficiently, and win rounds very dominantly. Then you had Bilal Muhammad, who is going to be a very difficult guy to take down, who we thought Buckley was very difficult, but I don't think that's the case necessarily anymore. I think Bilal's going to be much tougher to take down. And I think Bilal's more fluid in his boxing. Kamaru's got a much better jab, and Bilal's got better kicks. So they're both older guys. They both have similar types of styles where they're more wrestling dominant than they are striking dominant, but they have shown massive improvements in their striking, and they're not bad at the striking. Both former champs. Both don't like each other, so it's a grudge match. I'm going to end up fence-sitting this one a lot, bro, because I can see Bilal Muhammad edging out the decision. I can see Usman actually marking up Bilal Muhammad a lot and winning a decision based off damage there as well. So I think the wrestling will cancel out. I think the hands are going to be very close. I think Bilal's got better kicks, but Usman's got more power. Probably, like, he's got great cardio as well, so it's very even there. I don't know. That's a fucking fence-sit and a half, right? Another one I'm going to fence-sit, and this one's very recent as well. Bro, how do you pick someone to win this fight? Because RDR's in that DDP conversation where he looks stupid, but he just goes out there and keeps winning. Anthony Hernandez is not, like, insanely technical, but he just marots through people with cardio. Like, will he be able to marot through RDR? Because he's going to get to the clinch. I don't think he's necessarily taking RDR down, and I think he might get punished in the clinch. But then again, he might punish RDR in the clinch, and you just don't know what's going to happen in the striking. Anthony Hernandez's striking isn't that good. RDR's is not overly technical and great. Sorry. But, like, it's efficient, and both of them have used it to win fights. So what are we looking at here? Both are more predominantly great grapplers. Great jiu-jitsu, great wrestling. RDR has proven he has 5-round cardio. Looked great against Robert Whittaker. Got a win over Robert Whittaker, which is crazy. And Anthony Hernandez is destroying everybody in his path. I actually don't know who I pick in this fight. Because the younger guy, it's Anthony Hernandez. He's the up-and-coming prospect. But then again, RDR's 34, 35, a little older. But he's proven he's a 2-division champ in another promotion. And he's proven in the UFC that he's worthy of it by beating a guy like Robert Whittaker. And he actually finished Bo Nickel, which was a crazy win. And now it's like, well, is Bo Nickel actually as bad as we all say he is? Because RDR ends up beating Robert Whittaker, and you're like, what happens? I think this is just the textbook fence-sitter fight that I want made. This is such a 50-50 matchup. I want this made, and the winner gets a fucking title shot after Imavov Baralho. I think that's what's worth it. So, Anthony Hernandez, RDR, winner gets a title shot. This is such a fence-setting fight. I have no idea who I'd pick. Now we're going to go to a title fight. Bro, this is a little bit less fence-sitting for me. I think I'd favor Yuri Prochazka, but if Anko's out there and he finishes Alex Pereira, which I actually think he's going to, I think he can go out there and finish Pereira this time, definitely win. But if he does it in impressive fashion, sleeps Pereira, gets takedowns on Pereira this time, hurts Pereira multiple times in the fight, and looks like a real champion, like an absolute beast. Like, Ankalaev's a good fighter, but Yuri's crazy enough to catch him and stuff. And if Yuri goes out there and smokes Khalil Roundtree in a round, you're like, oh my god, we have our next title fight. There's hype and anticipation because they're on the same card. Yuri brings pay-per-view sales. The way he fights, and again, there's no more pay-per-view, so I get that won't even be booked until 2026, which will be sick, but this is a fence-sitting fight, because if Ankh looks dominant and Prochazka looks dominant, it's like, dude, which of these guys are going to go out there and win the title fight? Because it is the next title fight if both guys win. 100%. So I would probably be fence-sitting this fight. I think, because here's the thing, skill-wise, I fence it. Who's going to win? Gun to the head, fence it. But I have such a bias towards liking Yuri more than Ankalaev that I probably would end up picking Yuri. But when this matchup happens, don't let it fool you. I'm going to end up picking Yuri. But that is such a biased, like, I like this person more pick. So take that with you will. Remember that in 6 months when this fight ends up happening. in April of 24 and August, or sorry, probably May once Ramadan's over, maybe June of 25. I'm sorry, 26. This is a fence-sitting fight through and through. Another one, title fight, big fight coming up. Joshua Van versus Alessandro Pantoja. Everyone's going to take Pantoja. He's a better grappler. Joshua Van hasn't proven it in the grappling. He showed good grappling defense at some levels, but you have not come near the grappler of Alessandro Pantoja, and I agree. Pantoja's striking's got a lot better. He's got good pop and power, which is something that Van has benchinned before. But Van's one of those guys that is consistently improving, is going to be able to outpace Alessandro Pantoja. And there's so much tape on Pantoja that I think Van's going to be able to game plan really well. And Van's another one of those guys that I just never pick against. And it's at what point is it time for Pantoja to lose? Because he's been so dominant, we usually get one of these matchups and you're like, he should win this one, or this is the real contender that he might lose. This is the Volkanovski and Topuria thing to me. I don't think Van sleeps Pantoja at all, but I think this is going to be a competitive war, 5-round decision, destined to be a 48-47 either way, or Pantoja goes out. But that's the thing. That's why it's a fence-sitting fight, because Pantoja could go out there and just choke him out, but Van could go out there and just pace him out, strike him, and stuff the takedowns and dominate the fight. Pantoja could also chin him. It's just so 50-50 for me. Because I've seen the improvements from Van is crazy. He beat Brandon Royval on 3 weeks' notice with a broken toe. After already beating Bruno Silva, being in a fight, going back into that fight camp and end up winning a decision against the guy, who's the #1 ranked guy. We've seen his rapid improvements. And I think if you give him the proper amount of time, he's going to be obviously the best prepared. And we haven't seen him in a 5-round fight yet. I think a 5-round fight is where Joshua Van will thrive most. So this is a fence-sitter fight. I have no idea who I'm going to pick when it ends up happening. I think the favorite is going to be Pantoja by a good -220 margin or something like that. But Van's a live dog, and I'm fence-sitting that one. I have no idea what's going to happen. Paddy Pimblett and Arman Tsarukyan. Dude, Tsarukyan should win this fight through and through. But if it's a close decision, I can just see them giving it to Paddy Pimblett because people care more about Pimblett. Pimblett also has the craziest plot armor that I've ever seen in my life. So how are you like going to pick against Paddy Pimblett knowing what he does and the rapid improvements he makes in every fight? I get Arman Tsarukyan is a better fighter, 100%. But Paddy's much bigger than him. Paddy's much longer than him. And Paddy's grappling is nasty. Arman's not this world-class striker. He's a great wrestler. But Paddy's jiu-jitsu's nuts. And Paddy's very physically strong as well. So there's some problems there for Arman. I think it's a great matchup. I think it should be made, honestly. If you want Pimblett to get a title shot against Ilya, you do Paddy versus Justin. Because I think that's the easiest way to get one. But yeah, Arman versus Pimblett. This is a fence-sitter fight. I have no idea who I'm picking until it happens. Because Arman is such a better fighter, in my opinion. But Paddy has the plot armor, and Paddy poses really difficult issues that Arman would have to deal with. And lastly, yes, I made you wait till the end of the video for a WMMA one, dude. You got punked. You got fucking punked. You're getting a WMMA one to finish this video. But I actually... Bro, these are two of the best women's fighters of all time. Hands down. Valentina, dominant in her division. Very, very good. Beat one of her toughest challengers, Manon Fiorot. Zhang Weili is the best strawweight of all time. She is probably going to beat... I think she beats out Valentina now that I'm thinking more about it. But Valentina could always go out there and end up proving it with the size and the grappling and how technical she is in the striking. Because Valentina is a very good poise striker, and she can land on Zhang Weili. Zhang Weili is a very fast, dynamic striker. Poses a different speed threat than I think Valentina has seen at this division. So I think this is a great fight. Should be made. It's the only fight in WMMA that I give a fuck about other than Nunes versus Harrison. So, yeah, this is a fence-sitter one. This is one that's going to be 50-50 until I get there, even though I'm leaning Weili a little bit. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video. It was a little bit of a unique one. If you did, please like and subscribe and stay tuned for the predictions coming out tomorrow.